Hello there, and welcome to the Outside Film Podcast, where we talk film, TV, games, and all that jazz like there's no tomorrow. This week, we're talking about Bullet Train. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host John. How are you this week?
Hey there, I'm feeling great. I'm very excited to talk about Bullet Train. It's been such a long time since the trailers came out and the teasers. I was so excited about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bullet Train, briefly explain the plot for those who don't know.
Okay, Ladybug is an unlucky assassin who's determined to do his job peacefully after one too many gigs has gone off the rails. That's it.
Is that it? That the full? Okay, right. Okay, so full spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen Bullet Train, really do go and see it because oh man, last week we talked about the Grey Man, which is, as the title suggests, just grey and boring and generic and just like absolutely average in all the worst ways. But
Yeah,
Bullet Train is what I want to see from action movies. It was such a blast.
it definitely was. It was like a combination of everything that you've seen in action films, and it was like so refreshing. It was so vibrant. It was, alive, and it was actually really funny. What we've seen in these past films this year, like The Grey Man, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Jurassic World, and they did not exceed expectations or did not smash anything. But Bullet Train exactly just broke expectations, and I absolutely loved it. It was such a fun film.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, it's interesting that you listing all these films. I don't think any of them, the only film that's come out in the summer season that I would consider, the blockbuster of the year is kind of Top Gun Maverick, which we did a video on. It's great. But other than that, they've all been pretty disappointing. But Bullet Train is exactly the kind of blockbuster that I want to see. Like everything was so stylish, the way that the plot was structured, so every single thing mattered. Like it was so clever with the way that it used action and it built characters, and it was just such a breath of fresh air after just what it has felt like so long, as you said, since like a proper, like a really fun film like this.
Yeah, as I said, it was just so refreshing. And the plot, as you said, it was just like everything just mattered. There isn't like any characters that were left out or any weird arcs.
Yeah, this is coming from David Leitch. He did Deadpool 2, which I think is a pretty, solid film. Like, I think it's got some really good action and I prefer it to the first Deadpool. But I think that this like really stands out due to its originality and the way it brings in a lot of really, really fun things. Like, we have a really, really strong cast here who are all hilarious and have such strong characterizations.
Especially Brad Pitt.
Mm.
He was just stealing the whole show. He had such comedic value in this film. He just acted like a goofball, but also, as an assassin or as someone who's unlucky. That's the whole idea of this whole film. It's about fate and luck, and it's such a perfect way to, show that to characters and performing that kind of goofball, just like he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's just trying to get this briefcase.
Yeah, there are many times when Ladybug, Brad Pitt's character, will just kind of encounter somebody and have to fight his way out of a situation. There's a character called the Wolf, played by Bad Bunny, who at one point Ladybug is just about to get off the train, and the Wolf arrives, and Ladybug has no idea who he is, but the Wolf's like, I'm gonna kill you, and just starts attacking. And Ladybug literally has the suitcase to defend himself. And you just get a really, really fun action sequence where the wolf has got a knife and is swiping at him, and Ladybug is using the surroundings and using the briefcase to defend himself. That's one thing that I love in all the action. As an action movie, a lot of action movies, like The Grey Man last week, just get really tiresome with set piece after set piece and not doing anything interesting with any of the surroundings and it all being kind of wrapped in CGI. But man, every single action sequence is on the train itself. They make each carriage and all the things like really memorable. There's stuff in the first class lounge, in like the place where you get food, in the silent car. Like it's really exciting the way that they use the environment around them. And as far as I can tell, so much of it was practical until like you get to the end. And I thought that that was so refreshing to see, the choreography and the way that they used like, props and weapons throughout the whole thing.
Definitely, I agree. And one of the highlights was there was this animal. I don't know what it was, but it was called a monogamy. I don't
Yes,
know if I pronounced
yes.
it, something like that. And that was just like a really fun addition to the film because there was one character, the Hornet. It was a great plot twist. This, so she was in this suit as the monogamy, and that was great because that was just like great juxtaposition because that was just unexpected, and we had to like guess ourselves like, where is she? She could be on this train, but then she was the one who Ladybug fought over the suitcase. Just get punched. That squeak, it just. Yeah, it's just so funny.
Yeah, like
Love that.
when we first see it, it's like it just feels like it's a one-off joke. And it's like, aha, they tried to get this suitcase too. But then, like, again, they tie it in, and you have the Hornet revealing themselves in this kind of outfit, and like a lot of like the plot threads coming through. And there's a very kind of Tarantino-esque way that they edit the film and
Yes.
they structure it. There'll be a lot of times when they will flash back to different events and they will like tell a story. So there are these two characters, Lemon and Tangerine, played by Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Johnson,
Yes.
respectively. And they are like working together on this train. And there's a time when Tangerine's like, we killed 16 people to get the guy who they're supposed to be protecting. And Lemon's like, no, we killed 17. And there's this really, really fun montage where it flashes back where like every time they kill them, they turn to the camera and they like, say the number. And it was really, really, really funny and really like exciting and a really cool action sequence. And it was pretty gory as well. And it just kind of hit all these amazing beats. And they really used that structure well. There are loads of times when it will cut back to something earlier and it makes the characters and the audience's minds click back to that moment, and they use it in such a way that doesn't feel forced or like a hey, remember this. It feels more like that's the way that they edit it like throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many like flashbacks that was used creatively, and it allowed the audience to ease in very well, because it can be really tricky for them to get some information. But this used so creatively and so smart, like get the audience, engaged and like realize, oh yeah, that happened earlier. It just clicks quickly, and it's great. I just loved it. And other thing was the flashback of the wolf. So I just loved how it was like so dramatic, and it was like there's going to be this foreboding character that it was going to be used throughout the film. He just looked so ruthless, and then he just died in the most anticlimactic way. He just killed himself with just like throwing a knife, and just bounced on his chest and just stabs his heart, and then completely breaks his neck. And that's a great way of just expectations of perversion.
I will say that that was like pretty anticlimactic, and I do think that sometimes like this film is full of cameos. There's a scene with Channing Tatum shows up, Sandra Bullock shows up at the end. You've got Ryan Reynolds in this really like weird like reveal, and you've got Zazie
Yeah.
Beetz as the Hornet and Bad Bunny as the Wolf. And it does kind of sometimes feel like they don't use all of these people quite as well as they could have, especially when a lot of them were quite big parts of the marketing. But I definitely feel like yeah, I liked how some of those flashbacks were really dramatic. I think my favorite one was at the end. They are like in the final action sequence. We see this character, the father. He sees a bottle which was used earlier in the movie, which Lemon accidentally drank and it knocked him out because it had like sleeping stuff in it. And oh my God, it was amazing. We then cut to like the story of the bottle framed from the bottle's perspective when this little girl like tries to get it, but it doesn't come out the vending machine. And then Lemon comes along and gets it. And then we see Lemon and Tangerine's like day like from the perspective. We see the entire film basically like in short bursts from the perspective of the bottle, all leading up to this point where it was then like rolled on the floor and then it was binned. And then like the father happens to be next to the bin and the bin falls over and the bottle rolls out and he notices the bottle and he throws it. And it was just like again, everything matters and it's all structured in such a clever way.
Yeah, and I just love that. That was a great, fun, and smart way of like personifying a bottle, but it's just like it was so important the way that Brad Pitt, because he said at the beginning that he didn't want to use like guns or anything because he thought that was gonna invert his look, because if you had like weapons or anything, you'll be unlucky. So throughout the film, he was lucky. If you see that, he gets bit by a snake. So the snake was a very good way of like raising the stakes, and the water bottle as well. It was like very used visually and reminding the audience like there's something's going to happen out of the blue, and it was like unexpected. So Brad Pitt gets bitten by a snake, but he gets anti-venom because he had a fight with the hornet. So he's like panicking. He was like, he's got bit by a snake. And then he goes to the toilet, and then the toilet just obliterates him, just like using the bidet. And yeah, it just like calls back to him like using the toilet, and it's just like he doesn't know how to use it, and it's just great. And then minutes later, he comes back and he just wrote, "Snake, do not open." Love that.
I mean, I love how like there are these. So as you said, you've got the bottle and the snake as these kind of recurring things that are in the background, like always like it's tension. And you've also got a bomb in this gun and in the briefcase.
Yes.
So you know that whoever opens the briefcase is going to explode, and same with whoever pulls the trigger of this gun. And that lasts until the very end when the main villain, the White Death, doesn't have any bullets left in his gun, so he uses the other gun and it ends up killing him. And I thought that, again, all these things that came out, it made it just so satisfying. It didn't feel like there was a single moment wasted. And like I think the film flew by because of the way that they just utilized their time so effectively.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There have been like moments that felt so powerful, but amusing at the same time. So there's one scene that I absolutely love when the elder was talking about, what a ladybug meant in Japan. It's used for luck or
He kind of says that like the ladybug takes in everyone else's bad luck. Ladybugs have the seven sorrows on it, and then Brad Pitt's like, I don't want that. That sounds horrible. Why do anyone want that?
there's like a shot of him just looking at the sunrise, and it was like the best shots in the film.
Mm.
Just like he just had enough of it. He's just like, oh great, just the elder just telling him about the ladybug, and just like, oh, that's crap.
The film was beautiful, like especially again coming off last week where The Gray Man just really didn't have anything visually to offer. This film just looked awesome, as I already said, with the different carriages on the train. You've got like neon ones and different colors. That's already awesome. But you've also got like the way that they use the sun, and especially like in some of the flashbacks, like in the flashback of how the White Death rose to power through the Yakuza, you get like these amazing shots of the White Death with like their like devilish mask on in the rain that we cut back to quite frequently. And when it all builds up to the final set piece of the movie, just the entire way that they shoot it, I think is so effective with the music. Like, man, we've said this a lot recently, but a lot of modern action movies, superhero movies, that kind of thing, will just use a piece of licensed music just for like one scene, just so they can have oh, there goes my dog.
Yeah.
They will use one piece of I'll wait for her to stop barking.
Oh my god, and the noises. They're disrupting our bullet train review. They don't want to talk about how good the film
God
is.
damn it. But yeah, like they will use one piece of licensed music just for one action scene, and they won't even use it that well. But in this, they use it frequently,
Oh,
and sometimes the action scenes will be styled with the music, and it's just all comes together so well.
one of the best licensed songs. I Need a Hero.
Yes.
Yes. At the end, while the elder was like fighting against the White Death in the bullet train, and it was like the song "I Need a Hero" in Japanese, and it's
Yes.
just amazing. It was just used so
Yeah.
well, and it just fit in the culture of Japan, and it just felt so right. It was just like, yeah, that's what we need, and it
Yeah.
works so beautifully, and it was just so funny at the same time.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it felt like a real Shrek 2 moment. And at the beginning as well, you get Staying Alive by the Bee Gees in Japanese as
Mm.
well, and similar shots to Saturday Night Fever. And there were some really nice callbacks. And again, like this film just uses licensed music in a way that it doesn't feel just like a random trope so they can have their Stranger Things running up that hill moment. It just felt like throughout it was really cool and pulpy and fresh and just really, really, really exciting.
I'm very excited to listen to the soundtrack again because it is amazing. It just came out now on Spotify.
Yeah, it definitely is a really, really awesome one. I do think that it adds so much, just like the amount of style that this film gives. And I think that really, really, really elevates it. And that was really, really cool. I will say that like a couple of the threads definitely were a bit less like were less interesting. Like the prince, who we find out at the
Oh yeah.
end, she is the daughter of the White Death. Like her stuff was definitely a lot less engaging and a bit condescending, really, the way that she's kind of like trying to get to him. And like the like right at the end, after everything has ended, we get like she comes back, she's like, now I am the White Death, and she gets hit by a tangerine truck that we later find out that Lemon was driving. Like fun stuff. But I do think that her scenes were definitely the worst of the film.
Yeah, I felt like that didn't really, pick up the narrative as much. But I felt like if you just look at the details and like what she's saying, what she meant, and like, oh, she meant about like the White Death, and like how personal it was towards the father. But yeah, her story was just a bit slow with the father as well. So yeah, the father was great, but yeah, the prince was
Yeah.
just a bit not picking up the story as much.
Yeah, like I think the best part about the prince was the White Death reveal and the whole like gun thing when he shoots himself with the gun that she's rigged, and also like she's set somebody to kill the father's son if they don't hear back. But then you find out that the elder also had somebody there. Like the elder was like so cool, like kind of
He was
harkening
so
back to
cool.
like a samurai and like his backstory. And even when like he enters the train and the train station is all like misty, it was just really atmospheric and just really cool to see. And I loved like when you get to that final set piece, the whole time they purposefully don't show you the White Death's face, and we get the reveal that it's Michael Shannon, and just like, man, he was just so fun in the role.
Yeah, the accent was putting me off, but he was so good
Yeah.
in the role of White Death, and yeah, he was great. And that build up to find out who the White Death was, it was just like, oh wow, it's him, it's Michael Shannon, the guy who plays
Yeah.
Zod. And
Yeah, we
yeah,
we were we were in a very empty cinema. There was only two other people apart from us, and he came in. I was like, "It's Michael Shannon," and you were like, "What?" It was really a great moment. That was
yeah,
something that I really liked. There was nobody in the cinema, so we just got to kind of freak out the whole time, and that
we
definitely
was
made
like,
it like
oh, we were like,
really fun.
oh my god. Another thing about Bullet Train was the Thomas the Tank Engine,
Oh my
the
God, yes.
the whole joke, and it was worked so well. So Lemon and Tangerine, but Lemon mostly, he was obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine, and he
Mm.
would describe people like these trains: Diesel, Percy, or Thomas. And it's like a dichotomy for this whole film. Like you get to find out who these characters are with these with these characters from the TV show, just Thomas the Tank Engine. And it just works so well because it's on a bullet train. It's a train thing that show within on a train. The trainception.
It was really cool because the whole time Lemon's like, Thomas Tank Engine taught me how to read people. That's why I'm so good at it. And the whole time was like, we've got to find our Diesel, like the kind of mastermind behind everything. And there's this
Yeah.
amazing realization when Tangerine thinks that Lemon is dead, and Tangerine's talking to the prince and is like, and sees that the prince has the Diesel sticker on her, and he's like, "You're the Diesel," and he's this close to shooting her when Ladybug comes in and misunderstands it, and Tangerine ends up dying very unfairly. Like, I think if I were to change the film, I would have had Tangerine kill the prince there and then, and maybe have the prince reveal her backstory just before she dies. Because I do feel like Tangerine was one of the best parts. Aaron Johnson is so
Oh,
good,
Aaron
and
Johnson did
like
so well.
he
Yeah.
really did. And I would have liked to see him more in the movie. So often in films, especially like American films, British characters are really annoying because they're so like stereotypical British, and it's like, oh, like, as a Brit myself, it's just it's annoying, it's frustrating because they are like really just like dumbed down. But these guys, Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Johnson, just did so well. Like, just like they were just swearing all over the show, and like were just like had some really funny moments. And yeah, I just thought they were just a delight to watch.
Yeah, and it was like perfect characterization from like a British perspective. He's just like swearing all the time and just talked about like all the British stuff. And it was
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was great.
Yeah, like they're brothers, and they're just the whole time they're bickering about random things. Like at one point, Tangerine says, "If you talk about Thomas one more time, I'm gonna blow your brains out," and that kind of comes back and say, "What did I say?" And as the aforementioned moment where they name all the people that they've killed, or like even like in like the death moments, there are like some really like emotional flashbacks, and a really nice moment at the end when Lemon, who has jumped into a lake, comes out of the lake and he finds a tangerine truck and he's like, nice, and he uses it to run over the prince, which was just like really cool. And we do find out that the White Death orchestrated the whole thing, so everybody was on the train, which I thought was like a really nice way to tie it all together for the final action sequence.
Yeah, I realized the idea that White Death thought that Ladybug was Carver, and I thought that was like a great way because
Yes.
at the beginning, Ladybug was like complaining about like, why are we Carver calling sick? It's not like high school or anything. He's like talking about like Carver would be in this situation. So it was great to tie him back with that, with the editing, like going back at the beginning and making sure that it's staying true to the film, like it stays true, and like no weird editing that manipulates flashbacks or anything. It's just works so well. And we got a Ryan Gosling cameo. Okay, cool. But
Ryan Reynolds, not Ryan
yeah.
Gosling.
Oh my god, did I just say that?
You said Ryan Gosling.
That would be Ben. That would have been Ben,
Yeah,
actually.
if it was Ryan Gosling, I would have been so happy. But no, it was Ryan Reynolds. The good thing about it is that it wasn't obnoxious. I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw, but I have heard and I've seen clips of the Ryan Reynolds cameo, and it's really obnoxious and really like,
Wait, he's
wink
in
at the
Hobbs and
camera.
Shaw.
Yeah, he's got like an extended cameo, and so does
Oh,
Kevin Hart.
oh, Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I guess to be friends with Dwayne Johnson.
Oh boy.
But this,
Good.
I did think that all the cameos were fun. Channing Tatum was funny when, he's
Oh yeah.
like when Ladybug's like, I need you to put on my hat and glasses and I'll pay you. He's like, is this a sex thing? And then like later on, like he sees Aaron Johnson a couple of times. He's like, oh, this is the sex thing. He's like, oh, look at that man walk. And it's just, it was, those moments were
Oh,
quite funny. But
I love
like,
that accent.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, but I do think that they don't steal the show. It still is the characters themselves and the action set pieces. And it gets very crazy at the end with the train going so fast and like crashing into like a village. And definitely at that point, you can notice like that's definitely where the CGI budget went. And like it does kind of feel a little bit distracting after so much cool uses of practicality. Again, I'm not sure if it is, but it felt like it. But it was a really insane ending.
It truly
And
was.
it was just a really fun time, wasn't it?
Yeah, such a fun time, and I just loved watching that film.
The really unfortunate thing is it's got really mixed reviews. People like
Yeah,
aren't that excited about it, but like the Gray Man's got like a lot better. Like people really, and I don't understand it. Like it's so much better, and I know that people would rather watch something on Netflix than go to the cinema. But man, Bullet Train is 1,000 times better than the Gray Man, which is such a
exactly.
boring action movie. Where Bullet Train is just like really, really awesome, man.
Yeah, and I just don't get why they don't love the film. It's such a brand new concept. Like we got an unlucky character on this train. He was unlucky because some guy was calling sick, so he has to work his way out. And it's such a refreshing film. But everyone just found it, like it's critics mostly. They just found it. Did you remember the one that I sent you yesterday? Right, I'll read it. So, Bullet Train was meant to be more an earnest action movie, but smugness won out in the end, and it does all too often. Bullet Train is an ugly testament to filmmaker vanity, an exercise in homage that plays like a mere cheap imitation. What do you mean? What
I
do
mean,
you mean?
like if you think that Bullet Train is ugly, I'm confused, like
I'm
it's
so
such
confused.
a well shot movie. And I think it is earnest. It does have some really like, it does take its time to do like character moments, but like, it does have a very playful tone. And I think that I'd rather take a film that is completely playful than a film that tries to win Oscars and also wants to be a comedy, like I find that in a lot of modern blockbusters, and it really annoys me. I just don't understand why people don't like it. If you're listening and you haven't seen it, we've just spoiled everything for you. I'm really sorry, but watch it, please. It is amazing and such a better use of your time
It
than The
is.
Grey Man.
It is a wonderful film.
What are you going to give Bullet Train out of 10?
Or a 9 or a 10 because it's so good.
Ooh.
But I'm gonna say a 9. I'm gonna say a 9.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 8. I agree. It's so good. And yeah, so thank you everybody for listening. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. We did the Grey Man last week, so if you want to hear us complain about that, you can. And
Oh
next
boy.
week we're going to be doing Rogue One in the lead up to Andor. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Alstein Film Pod. And you can send us an email, tell us your thoughts on Bullet Train, on the Grey Man, on anything. Ask us questions, and we will reply to them right here on alsteinfilmpod@gmail.com.
All right. And we thoroughly enjoyed talking about Bullet Train. It is one of the best films this year, and I loved it. It was such a fun film, and it's far better than The Grey Man, as you said. It is. It's just a complete mess. But if you have the time to go and see Bullet Train, it is so good. So, yeah. Thank you for listening. Right. I think that's everything.
Absolutely.
Oh, take care and be good. Right. Take what you're given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.